Do any of you know where Llandovery is?
Yes.
Yeah? I'm from Llandovery. It's fucking lovely. I grew up there, and then I went to uni and went to the city and did all that shit. So I'm proper like a little village boy. My voice, okay, I get called, someone told me this the other day, in a compliment, this is a compliment. She was like, oh, I've seen your videos online, because I've put a couple of YouTube videos up, and she was like, oh, meeting you is really nice, because when I saw your videos, I thought you were shit. And I was like, what? And she was like, no, I didn't think you were shit, I just thought you were putting on a fake, like, normal London accent, like all the fake poets do, and you actually speak like this, so it's okay. And I'm like, I'm from Llandovery. My name's Frank Morgan Llewellyn Thomas. And somehow I got this voice, and it pisses me off that every now and then someone has to come over and tell me, oh, you're not shit, you just speak like that in real life. But yeah, anyway, this is what it is. The birds sing. Every morning the birds sing. Sometimes before the horizon spirals and spins till the sun comes in through open windows, awaking those that dwell within. Yeah, the birds sing. And then the bells ring, summoning eyes to awake and to begin their day, and it's been this way since before those who have faded from our memory. In Llandovery, we've always been woken by sunlight and melodies. And there's the same mums, on the same park benches that have been sitting there since they were erected, chit-chatting about the same old happenings, since they were kids. And did you hear? Oh, bless her dear, bless her heart, I can't believe she ended up with that fart of a man. She's so much better than him. And then a boy comes limping in. A red-kneed, wounded son seeking affection and nurture from his mum, but is told to go suck it all in, go play on the swings, grown-ups are talking now. The gossip unpauses and ensues, resumes, continues, unfolded and unchanged throughout the decades, and as it fades into the distance, the air carries the smell of smoke and grease and leather. All the bikers say can't get better than the West End Cafe in this sunny weather. And it's always bothered me how they're not baked alive, sun-saturated, sitting outside as their tar and tea-stained teeth devour sauce-soaked breakfast buns as the yo-yo and yolk drips and runs down chins as they're gesturing to mates either putting out or mates putting in. And she's just a waitress, 36 with 2 teenage kids and has put aside dreams. But at least once a week is karaoke. And she's Whitney. And she holds all the high notes better than she held on to herself. She's truly got a voice worth recognition. But only we get to listen. For that 3 minutes and 32 seconds when she's number one. And when she finishes, it's not to a roaring crowd, but well done, hun. Maybe and you try and embarrass us, Mum. There's no autograph signing, just fill us up, darling. I'm from a place called Llandovery. And in every street corner there's either a friend, a story, or a memory. Usually all three. And then I moved to a city and a whole new world opened up to me. Like I met this guy called Steve. Now Steve didn't want to go out with his mates from the office, but he wants to build a career, so he gave in to peer pressure. They take him to a whorehouse, he meets this girl dressed in leather. Now he can see through her lip gloss and makeup, she's afraid, but he can't do anything to help. Makeup over her eyes because she's trying to hide, she's been on the receiving end of the belt. He goes straight to the bar, doesn't order a pint. Fish clenched tight like he's expecting a fight, and as she comes over, his eyes go from the door to the floor. One of his mates asks, what do you think of this all? One hand on her hips, the other on her tits, and he feels sick that people treat her like this. She looks uncomfortable, but knows it's what she has to do, it's what she wants to endure, and this is far from the worst part of being a whore. And it says she's divine. Slips a note with a grope down her bra, says, show my friend a good time. She takes Steve by the hand, leads him down the corridor, gives a quick knock on the door, pauses, then enters. There's no sheepskin rug or fireside embers, and as she disrobes, apart from the bruises, she's pale. His fingertips read her scars like braille, her figure is frail and weak. There's no words to speak, so he's careful as he climbs on top. Her eyes are watering, but she insists she's just holding back a cough, and the only plastics on the mattress are not on the man she's with. She sells sex, not love. As she stares at the ceiling above, she's got a trick to get her through, to take her out of this room and up onto the roof. She counts stars. She learned this from the first time in the backseat of a car. But that guy was rough and mean, forced her head into the seat so she could barely breathe, and sometimes she can still taste cheap polystyrene. See, but this time it's different. He's not quite sure, and you can see he wants to kiss her, and no one's done that before. He looks at her and doesn't see a whore. So she's shocked. As she turns from her stars and gets on top. And as she guides him inside, he strokes her skin, and it's easy to see there's a deeper connection from within. And it doesn't last long, but the feeling of relief will echo an eternity, no matter how brief. But then it's all over. And he hasn't been drinking, but he's feeling far from sober. It's a shame. As she leaves, he goes to call her name, says, "We could run away. We could find a better place, just you and me. We won't be constantly trying to please these people who force us to do things we don't want to. You know I would never let them get to you." She'd be nervous and explain her pimp would probably kill her if she tried, but eventually they'd find courage in each other's eyes. But as he goes to shout, no words come out, because he never knew her name. So he tries to go on living just the same. So he leaves. Without saying goodbye to the guys, gets home, washes his face, turns from the mirror with disgrace, can't look himself in his eyes through his despise and self-loathing. But he can still smell her on his clothing. So he jumps into the shower, and time begins to pass hour by hour, and then day by day, and then week by week, and he's still actually starting to get a decent night's sleep. But he still has the occasional bouts of sickness and dizziness, and then he collapses at the office and wakes up in a paper gown with nurses running around, and there's a doctor. So I explain, quite sensitive, because he's tested positive for something very negative. And he gets a little bit argumentative, so he friends him with a sedative, and he's just wondering how he's going to explain this to his relatives or the rest of his contact list. Now he's the one lying in his back, staring at the ceiling, trying to count stars. So he makes an excuse, takes him out of this room and up onto the roof. Across the car park he stares, sees a life he can't bear, a life he can't front. So he decides to jump. And I guess it goes to show, no matter the profession, sometimes you don't have time to learn from your lessons. I got a little sister called Ned. I tell her about Steve a lot. I tell her, before you let someone force you, be sure it's what you want to do. Whilst you don't have to count the stars, but are free to marvel at how beautiful they are. Because she still lives in a place called Llandovery. A place where what happens the night before, no matter what happens the night before, is practically a certainty. In fact, it's an absolute guarantee that she's going to be woken by sunlight and melodies. Cool.